I'm Jason Mason, and today we're turning up the volume on the truth and silencing the myths that have been buzzing around in the music industry. From the idea that gear equals greatness to the notion that there is only one way to mix a track, I'm debunking the myths that have been holding producers back. So let's cut through the noise and uncover the real deal behind the music production. First, the myth of expensive gear. The age-old myth. To make professional music, you need expensive gear. Wrong. The truth is, creativity and knowledge trump high-end equipment every time. Today's technology has leveled the playing field, and with the right skills, you can produce hit-quality tracks using just a laptop and a few well-chosen plugins. Let's not forget that some of the most iconic tracks were made with minimal setups. It's not about having the best gear, it's about knowing how to use what you've got. And that is really important. For example, Martin Garrix with his hit song Animals was produced in his child's room, and that track went straight to the first place in the Billboard charts. So as you see here, I only have a laptop, some boxes to AB, a small little interface, and an iMac that's mostly used for YouTube videos. And that's it. So in the beginning, don't spend too much money on equipment. Some of the engineers I know are still mixing on the standard plugins of their DAW, and they make big hit songs. So use what you have and do stuff. Next up, the perfect mixing template. Long story short, you don't need one template. The myth of the perfect mixing template. The idea that there is a one-size-fits-all solution to mixing. The reality, mixing is an art form, tailored to the unique needs of each track. While templates can be a great starting point, they should serve as guidelines, not gospel. The key to a great mix is understanding the elements of each song and how they fit together, not applying a preset formula. Each track tells a different story, and your mix should reflect that. However, if you're producing beats, for example, you could totally have some kind of little template like the same compressor or EQ, but there is not a single template for all music production styles. You record a band that's pretty analog, you need this plugin, you need that, and the next thing you have is some EDM production. So that mixing template from the session before won't work on this session. There are probably some plugins that you'll use more than other plugins, but in a nutshell, there is no perfect mixing template. The next myth is the more plugins, the better. Moving on, let's tackle the myth that more plugins equal a better mix. This couldn't be further from the truth. Cluttering your mix with unnecessary plugins can lead to a muddy and unfocused sound. Instead, the focus should be on selective and purposeful use of plugins. Often, less is more, and the judicious use of a few high-quality plugins can achieve a much more polished result than stacking dozens of effects. And that's pretty important. Use plugins wisely. If you're having a great sounding rough mix, why putting 20,000 plugins on that chain? Use a good compressor, a good equalizer, a good limiter, and that's it. Just much more focus on how to use your plugins. That's much more important. To the next chapter I can totally relate. It's about producing a song with one microphone. Quality over quantity. The myth that a vast collection of microphones is necessary to achieve a professional recording has been circulating for years. However, the truth is that the concept of the one mic wonder is not only feasible but also often preferable for many home studios and recording artists. This approach highlights the importance of skillful use and placement of a single high-quality microphone over the accumulation of gear. Sometimes even in the beginning you don't have that much money for equipment, you have one microphone, so just use it. For example, Shure or Rode have some really great microphones you can use. The Shure SM7B, for example, is perfect for recording drums, vocals, even bass and guitars. So just invest a couple of bucks for one good microphone instead of buying dozens of microphones and you still don't know how to use them. Buy one and experiment with that. End of the story. The next myth that I have for you today is the vocal booth myth. As you see behind me, there is half of a vocal booth. Most of my productions I do here in my studio work pretty well in that corner. So if I record an audiobook, a singer performance, some guitars, they all work in that corner. So you don't always need the perfect vocal booth. However, let me explain that. Contrary to popular belief, a professional vocal booth isn't the only way to achieve high quality vocal recordings. The true essence of a great recording lies not in its expensive isolation booths, but in the hands of the producer. Advances in microphone technology, portable isolation, and digital processing now allow for studio-quality recordings in diverse environments. Key to exceptional tracks are knowledge of microphone placement, room acoustics, and performer technique. Utilizing these elements effectively can lead to recordings that are not only high quality but also rich in character and emotion, surpassing what might be achieved in a sterile booth setting. Last week I've recorded a rapper in an hotel room, and I easily took the mattress off his bed and put it against the wall. And that was enough. The performance sounded good and everyone was happy about it. So it's not about the perfect vocal booth. Sometimes you don't have the money, sometimes you don't have the time. Just use what you have and test around with your microphone what sounds best, because every room sounds different. However, make the room work for you. Next myth we have right here is the loudness war. The myth that loudness wins the race. The loudness war. The belief that the louder your track, the better it will sound. This myth has led many to sacrifice dynamics and clarity for volume, resulting in a distorted and lifeless track. The goal should be a well-balanced mix that maintains dynamic range, not just cranking up the volume. Loudness should be considered in the context of the final mastering stage, aiming for a level that ensures your music translates well across different listening environments without losing its essence. I've made a video earlier this year about loudness and I'm gonna link it somewhere here in this video. However, it's important for you to make your song loud. That's a fact. But the thing is, it shouldn't be too loud. Why? Because the most known streaming platforms where you upload your music have normalization. That means it doesn't matter how loud you mix your song, the platform will put the song in place so that all songs are on the same level. However, mix your songs loud and proud, but not too loud. The next myth we have is you can fix it in the mix. Or even better, the mastering engineer can fix it later. This mindset encourages cutting corners during recording, mixing, just relying on post-production magic to solve problems. The truth is, no amount of mixing or mastering can turn a bad recording into a masterpiece. The foundation of a great track is great recording and great mixing. Spend time getting it right at the source, and the mixing and mastering process will be much smoother and more rewarding. If you don't mind the basics in the mixing or in the recording, the mastering engineer can't magically make your song awesome. He can make it better, but he can't polish the turd. Record it right, mind your mixing basics, put out a great mix. Simple rules that take time and effort. Just get good at your craft and it will sound good. And there you have it, a short video about the myths that are going around in the music business. If you learned something today, leave a like on this video and comment me your myth going around in the music industry you've heard. However, until next time.